I work nights at one of the resort hotels at Disney. It's not one of the themed ones families post about. This is one of the overflow properties they use when the main ones are overbooked. It's still technically on property and the branding is still there, but it's mostly used for conferences, tour groups, and sometimes cast member training overflow. It's much quieter than the big ones and there aren't as many kids either. Way less noise, which is a massive plus for me. Seems weird to say it, considering I work at Disney, but I hate kids. I've worked here for 9 years, security all the way through. We're not the one in uniform people see in the parks. We dress plain, usually with a plain polo shirt, a name tag, and a discreet earpiece. Mostly I do rounds, unlock doors for people who have lost their keys, help escort someone drunk back to their room, check fire exits, stuff like that. I've only ever had to call the cops here twice. This started 2 Thursdays ago, or maybe it was a Friday morning. The days bleed together. I was covering a double for someone out sick, which put me on shift from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. At around 3:40ish, the front desk radioed in to say a guest had called in complaining about noise in the adjacent room. Scraping sound, she said. Not loud music or talking, just scraping. That's genuinely all she said. Now, at that time of night, it's almost always housekeeping carts getting moved, so I checked which staff were clocked in. No one was scheduled to be on that floor. There were no overnight cleaning scheduled for that particular night, so I went up myself to check. It was on a mid-level floor. Nothing strange about it at all. The room the complaint came from was number 421. She said the noise was coming from 423. Both rooms were booked, but 423 was marked as a do not disturb. Not an unusual thing. A lot of guests value their privacy. Heck, most keep it on 90% of the time that they stay here sometimes. I knocked anyway. Standard protocol. No response. I tried again but a little louder this time, but not too loud so as to not disturb everyone around us. I waited for a minute or two but still received no response. Just nothing at all. From the hallway, I didn't hear anything strange. No scraping or talking like the complainant reported to us. I checked with the front desk again and asked who had checked into 423. They told me it was a single adult male, early 40s, from out of state, here for a conference. No companion listed, no special requests, paid in full for 3 nights. At that point, I figured maybe he had his TV up, or he moved furniture, and she just caught the tail end of it. I noted it down and moved on. 2 hours later, maybe closer to 6 o'clock, I got another call. Same guest. She said that the noise had not stopped once since she last called me, which was obviously impossible. Hearing this from her, knowing it wasn't true, kind of really annoyed me. Now she was saying it sounded closer, like it was coming through the wall. She said it was steady, a dragging noise, and then nothing. Then again, not fast, not rhythmic, just off. I was already in the lobby finishing a log entry, so I went straight up. This time I stood outside 423 longer. Still no sound. Still no response when I knocked. I tried calling the room. You could hear it ring inside, just faintly through the door. No one picked up. I was now seriously pissed off. If this was some kind of stupid prank, I was really gonna go off on this woman. I don't make enough to put up with this shit, and being fired would not be the end of the world. At this point it was almost 6:20, and the guy had a scheduled checkout that day. Housekeeping will be up in a couple of hours anyway, so I made the call to key into the room and do a quick welfare check. I let myself in, announced myself like we're trained. No answer. At first glance, the room looked normal. The blinds were drawn. There was a suitcase on the luggage rack and a half-empty water bottle on the desk. The TV was turned off. The bed hadn't been slept in. No one was in the bathroom. There were no clothes in the hamper. There was a laptop charging on the nightstand, but it wasn't logged in. The guest's phone was there too. Wallet next to it, unopened. There was a conference badge on the dresser. The name matched the reservation. It was one of those moments where everything looks fine but doesn't feel right. That's hard to explain if you've never walked into a space and known immediately that it wasn't just empty, but that it had been that way for way too long. There was no food or remnants of it. There was no trash in the bin or any sort of signs of activity. No towels had been used. The shower was bone dry. Not a speck of dust or dirt anywhere. Not so much as a sock left on the floor. I stepped out, called the front desk, and asked if this guest had ever picked up his room key. They checked, and yes, he had, just after 3 p.m. on the day he checked in. That was more than 36 hours ago. According to the system, the room had only been accessed once, the initial entry. No one else had keyed in, not staff, not the guest. This is where it started to feel off, the keycard's log entries. Even housekeeping shows up as a ping, but the only code on that door was the initial one, about 3 minutes after check-in. That is it. So the guy checks in, enters his room, and what? Never leaves? Never sleeps in the bed? Doesn't touch the bathroom? But his phone, his wallet, his laptop are just sitting there? I've had guests leave in a hurry before. I've seen overdoses, domestic incidents, people sneak in extra guests, but this was empty in a way that felt deliberate. But now my shift was almost over. I wrote it all up and handed it off to the day manager. I let them decide how to escalate it. Last I heard when I left on that day was that they were going to try contacting the guest directly and flag it for guest recovery. Maybe he just left and forgot to check out. Maybe there was a family emergency. People vanish in their own ways all the time. But here is what really bothered me ever since. The woman in 41 who first called it in. She checked out around 9:30 a.m. When housekeeping went to clean her room, they found a sticky note folded and wedged behind the headboard between the mattress and the wall. They only found it because they were changing the mattress cover. They would not tell me what it said, and I never got to see it with my own 2 eyes, but I could tell by the looks on their faces that it was strange. They reported it and then trashed it, presumably by request, which, again, is a little strange. That is the kind of detail they tried to keep out of the report. It doesn't look good, admitting that it sat there for multiple turns. The linens were swapped, sure, but nobody had stripped the mattress down that far until the maintenance team was prepping for some kind of VIP walkthrough. Otherwise, it might have gone unnoticed for weeks, possibly even longer. They called us in before alerting anyone else. That is protocol when something gets flagged, but doesn't immediately fall into one of the established buckets like theft, assault, medical, etc. This was just strange. And everyone froze a little, because strange is the thing that we are not trained for. Everything at Disney is rigid and planned out, and this just wasn't. It was a square of carpet, about 1 foot by 1 foot, tucked between the mattress and the box spring, like someone had cut it clean out of another room. Not folded or crumpled, just lying flat. Adhesive residue on the underside, bits of foam still clinging to it. The fibers were the same blue-gray you see in the older rooms that haven't been remodeled yet. But that part of the property had all been renovated 2 years ago, and this pattern was phased out well before that. We tagged it, photographed it, and bagged it. That is all standard. What was not standard was just how fast the next steps happened. The resort manager did not wait for the local liaison. Instead, he went directly to corporate security. By the time I got back to my little office, there were already 2 people from Glendale waiting on the line. Not legal or HR. These were the investigators. You don't hear from them unless something went very wrong or could be made to look like it had. They told us very quietly to do a sweep. Not just of that room though. They gave us a list of 6 rooms on different floors, all in the same wing. They did not explain why those specific rooms. The codes did not line up with anything I had access to, but we did what we were told. Room 432 had a vent that did not match the others. It had newer screws. We opened it and found nothing inside, but the surrounding dry wall had been patched and repainted. The date on the vent cover stamp was from 3 months ago. Room 526 was normal, except for a doorstop that had been installed upside down. Might be nothing, but it was the kind of thing someone would do intentionally to leave a mark. In room 391, there was a sticker behind the bathroom mirror. One of those tiny barcode labels that they use for internal inventory, but it was not one of ours. Our system uses a different formatting convention. This one had 5 digits, and then a slash, and then 3 more. I scanned it with my personal phone out of habit. Nothing came up. Blank redirect. Room 227 is where it got worse. The room had been reported for water damage earlier in the year for some issue with the unit above and was temporarily pulled from inventory. I checked the log. It was marked as empty, not in use. but the sheets had been stripped recently and the AC was on. Fresh towel triangle on the sink. There was no guest record for it, no keycard history. It had been lived in, just not officially. We pulled the logs manually. Our system keeps backups for 180 days. We found 6 different staff keycards used to access that room in the past month. 4 were current employees, 2 were not. 1 belonged to someone who had been terminated in 2021. This is the part I probably should not be writing down. When I flagged it, corporate did not ask me to investigate. They asked me to delete the entries. They told me that the data was scrambled due to a firmware issue. That's not a thing. I know our system inside out. There is no scramble. There's only overwrite. You don't overwrite unless you need to erase a trail. That is when I started printing copies of everything. Logs, timestamp photos. Even that room list they sent, I printed out, marked every detail, and stored the hard copy off-site. 2 days later, the original room, the one with the carpet square, was quietly pulled from service and locked. No formal maintenance ticket was created, and there weren't any guests to complain to justify it. The keycard system still showed it as active, but only with limited access. 2 IDs were authorized, a regional facilities manager I had never heard of in my life, and someone from Operations Compliance. No name registered to it, just the employee title. That is not how our system is supposed to work. I drove past the building that night. The hallway lights near the room were flickering, like the wiring had been cut and patched poorly. There was no noise or activity, not that I could see anyway, but as I circled to the service side, I saw a set of crates stacked near the loading bay. They were not delivery boxes. These were the tall black ones we use for internal transfer of sensitive materials. Usually, those only show up when props or archival items are being moved, but there was no record of a move order. The next morning, the crates were gone. So was the room access list. Even my backup system had been reset. Here's what I know for sure. The carpet square matched a discontinued room design from a now demolished section of the old Lakeview Suites. That wing was shuttered in 2015 after multiple structural code violations. Rumor was, it had black mold and leaking foundations. I'd never thought about it much because they just tore it down and paved over it for new shuttle access. Makes sense that they would move on something like that so quickly, as it's the kind of thing that can shatter a reputation, even one as big as Disney's. But here's the thing. I ran a thermal scan of the blueprints from before the demolition. In room 227, the one marked not in use is directly above where one of the sub-foundation service corridors used to be, a place that doesn't exist anymore. Except, I found a door there last year, half buried, padlocked shut. I didn't think much of it at the time. I didn't say anything until now, because I wanted to be sure, but it's not just one room, or one guest, or one odd square of carpet. It's a network. Someone, maybe more than one person, has access to dead spaces, rooms that shouldn't be occupied, data that's supposed to be gone, and they are maintaining it quietly. It's like they're using it for something that needs to stay off the books, but I have no idea what. It could be something perfectly innocent, like maybe guests who need to not get attention. Maybe it's some maintenance scheme or some other bullshit. I know Disney likes to keep everything behind the scenes so as to not ruin the magic. Maybe disposal of something? I really don't know. I'm not pushing some wild theory. I am just telling you what I saw. There's a paper trail, or there was. If you work here and you've seen anything like this, weird badge access, rooms showing as empty but lived in, guests who don't check in but still use the amenities, then please, document everything. I think it's just here, but who knows. I've not heard anyone at any other place mention anything remotely as weird. Either way, keep it offline, keep it physical, because digital will not save you. They haven't asked me to sign anything yet, but they will. I can feel it coming. If you don't hear from me again, it's because I decided not to be part of this cleanup. I've got one I'll post now. Never done a green text story before, so bear with me. This shit scared me to fucking death. I was 19 years old. I have never gone in the woods again. Never intend to again either. August 3rd, 2011. 2 friends and I decide to go in the woods to do survival shit, etc, etc. I'll refer to them as K and J for this. They both lurk here and will bitch fit if I post their names, cause they are idiots like that. We have done in the woods twice before, same land, belongs to our friend's uncle. Friend did not come due to being deployed at the time. Gave friend's uncle $100 to let us use his land up to a week. He knows us and considers us good kids, so lets us. He's a nice guy. My probably poor guess is the land is anywhere from 6 to 8 acres. Plan was to stay for 3 to 4 days depending on the weather. Plenty of time to play Delta Delta Echo 5 Charlie Operator. I had my Glock 19 and my brother's AR-15 chambered in 5.56. K had brought his SKS, J his 10.22 takedown and 1911. Guess you could say we have a mediocre setup. We only intended to hunt small game for a stew. On our previous in the woods trips, we decided we'd camp on the border of the woods due to being pussies, and shit was dense and dark. Seemed like a death trap. I was 17 last time, and was no guns also. This time we decide we will go deep in the woods, in order to not get lost and have a nice water source. We'll follow the stream up to the source in the valley, roughly 7:40 AM at this point. Found what appeared to be the source. There was a nice clearing about 50 meters away from it, so we set up there. Roughly 9 AM. We went to work making the campsite real nice, getting enough firewood for the night to cook stew with. Jay got 2 rabbits with his 10.22. One of the rabbits struck me as odd. Both its ears had been spray painted green, but didn't care. Skinned it, cooked it, ate it. Figured some asshole shroom pickers did it. A lot of people trespass to pick shrooms when the time is right, as the area is ripe with them. Fucked around, trying to get food for the next day, shooting birds when we saw them. We didn't hit any because, lol, shit shots. Head back to camp to call it a night. I never sleep on the first night. Too much of a pussy and I never feel safe. It's 1:08 AM and J and K are both asleep. I decide to get out of the tent as I feel spooked, feeling like an axe murderer was about to bust through my tent compartment and hack me to death. Go outside to sit beside the fire, which was just about dying. Had AR on my lap the entire time. All is well for about 30 minutes or so. Still feel creeped the fuck out, but assume that's because I'm a pussy. Suddenly, catch a glimpse of something to my right about 40 meters away, which was about as far as I could see anyway because of the lack of light. Whatever it was, it seemed about 6 foot tall, wide, and it stepped behind a large tree. I feel pretty fucking nervous, so I wake Jay up, cause K sleeps like a fucking rock, you son of a bitch. So me and Jay go investigate. He's got his 1911, and I've got my AR still. Operate over to the tree. Get there. Nothing there. Scan the area quickly. Jay says, "Man, you really are a pussy, you know that?" I apologize for waking him up. We turned to head back to the tent, and there it was. What seemed to be a fucking freshly carved smiley face, the size of my hand, on the very same tree I saw the fucking thing. Shavings on the floor. Don't know how we didn't see it when we got there originally. Nope the fuck back to the tent. Feels eerie as fuck, I can't sleep now, and Jay says he will stay awake with me. Discussed that it could have been K during the day, and what I saw was my imagination, because I'm tired. 6:30 AM. Phone alarm goes off, and it just about runs out of battery. K wakes up. I ask him. He thinks I'm bullshitting and fucking with him. Get up. Still got my AR with me. Refuse to let go of it and take him to the tree. Show him and he freezes. He says, "That's fucked, man," but still thinks that I did it and I am fucking with him. We decide one more night and we will call it and go home because of that smiley. I did mention we're pussies before, remember? Eat Spam for breakfast, get firewood and go hunt. We all stay within 20 feet of each other the entire time. Gets to roughly 2 PM. Got a rabbit and we decide to keep going, noticing a lack of wildlife generally. Literally only saw this one rabbit, no birds chirping, etc. Made it eerie as fuck. I notice a small green circle spray painted on a tree 30 meters ahead. Phone dead at this point. Would have got some pictures, but at this point, I didn't even browse K. Rub my eyes, thinking it's my eyes fucking up due to a lack of sleep. Circle still there. Exact same fucking color as what was on the rabbit's ear from the previous day. As far as we know, we are the only ones on the property bar our friend's uncle, who had a few sheds away at the start of the property to keep building materials. Being the spook pussy that I am, I call over K and J to come take a look. We continue 12 o'clock, 100 meters from the marked tree. Another one, same color. This goes on for about 7 to 9 trees, all about 100 to 200 meters apart, It varied. Jay shouts us over, despite being only 10 feet away, the fucking idiot. There it was, 50 to 60 meters in front of us. The trees had led us up to a perfectly set up tarp. I figured this is the campsite of the fucker who did the Smiley. Ready my AR. I tell Jay and Kay to come with me. We slowly advance, being incredibly cautious. I shout, "Hello?" at the top of my voice, and no one replies. 13 meters away now. "Hello?" No reply again. 20 meters away. Start aiming at the tarp. J and K are too. 15 meters away. Can't see what's inside yet. Turn to right. Tree spray painted on vertically in the green spray paint says, "Ha ha ha ha." Dem chills and goosebumps. 10 meters away. Catch a smell of something horrible. Best way I can describe it is shit and sulfur mixed together. We all approach the tarp, guns at the ready. Look under tarp. Fucking body laying there with no shirt on. Stomach ripped open. Maggots everywhere. Shit everywhere. His pants were around his ankles. Bloody mess where his dick used to be. Me and Kay scream. We all nope the fuck out of there as fast as possible. Jay saying fuck, 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 fuck over and over. Keep sprinting back to camp, panicking like crazy. Never seen a body before. As we near the campsite, our sprint turns into a jog, and we're all silent but panting. We get to the campsite. Everything is a fucking mess and the place is trashed. Green spray paint over everything. Food all over the floor. Tent sliced the fuck up on all 3 compartments. All look at each other as if to say, fuck this. We decide to leave all of our shit that was not already on us. No use to us now anyway. And we haul ass down the valley using the stream to guide us. Get to the landowner's place. Tell him everything that happened. He calls the police. We wait for the police to arrive. Give our statements and details. Go home. They go and investigate. We all agree on the way home that we should lay off in a woodsing cause we are not fucking cut out for this shit. Police apparently never found a body. Only the trees with the paint, our ruined campsite, and the tarp. Have never returned or in a woods again. Shit lost all of its appeal after this.
Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories.
Hey, love your content. I'm not a native English speaker or writer, and I wrote everything down in one go from memory, so I guess grammar is not the best. And I'm not mad if you make it work for your community, but would be cool if you don't change what happened. Maybe it is something for you. I guarantee that it is 100% true. Maybe some details got lost over the years, but it's accurate. Thanks, brother. Be me. 15 years old boy from Berlin/Germany. Father just left my family 3 years ago. Started doing cannabis, smoke, alcohol. Just a troubled boy trying to find his way. My best friend and his dad went to windsurf every year in Denmark, and he asked me if I wanted to join them, and I did. During the day, we surfed, or at least tried. And during the evening/night, we tried to connect with other teens and chill out, or best case, find some girls. After 2 days or so, we found a group of teens that hung out at the coast. If I remember right, there were 3 girls and 4 boys or something. Everyone was Danish, except 2 of the boys were Russians. Had a rough start with the Russian boys, but decided that we were all cool and hung out. One evening, we tried to get some alcohol, but prices are absolutely nuts in Denmark due to alcohol taxes, or something like that when compared to Germany. So I had a brilliant idea that we could put together the money we had, and I would try to go to the surf bar and buy half a bottle of vodka or something. Full new bottle was far too expensive for us working class teens. Everyone was cool, and we put together like 20 to 40 euros or something, and me and the bigger Russian boy went on the mission, because too many teens would interfere with our plans to beg some bartender for alcohol. We went to the bar, and I asked politely if it could be possible to buy some leftovers or something, but we were denied instantly, due to age I guess. We went out, and some older man, Danish guy, mid-50s, little bit chubby but clean looking, friendly, came outside and said that he heard us asking for alcohol and that he had some cheap vodka bottles back at home which wasn't far away and that we could buy from him. We were stoked and of course, instantly said yes. He told us to wait because his girlfriend would join us, which she did. He had a black Volkswagen van, 7 seats. He sat at the wheel. The Russian on the passenger seat. The girlfriend of this man, same age, looked okay, but a little alcoholic. You know what I mean. Strangely thin and stuff, but was friendly. Sat behind the Russian guy, and I sat on the all left seat middle row. Everyone was laughing and joking around as the GF of the man suddenly started to massage the shoulders of the Russian boy in front of her in the passenger seat. Russian boy laughed and joked around, but I was starting to realize that the whole situation was pretty sketchy. But I continued to behave like everything was normal because I really wanted to get that frigging alcohol to potentially get laid. You know the deal. We drove for about 15 minutes at the coast, and it was pure wilderness. The little village was some kind of tourist Windsor spot, and after that it was all forest, which made me realize even more that I have to be very cautious. I remember the Russian guy being totally relaxed and strangely unbothered, even after the woman massaged his shoulders. It was like a 5-second touch maybe, not a full-on massage. Old guy quit the coastal road into a small forest road, and we were there. A normal Danish house in the middle of the woods. The sun had set at this point, and it was nearly pitch black outside. No streetlights or anything like that. The vibes were good and we went inside. I asked for the vodka bottle, but the old guy said we should drink at least 1 or 2 beers with them as a thank you, and he would gift us a bottle. Russian guy instantly said yes, I guess because of the free beers. I said okay, but at this point, my instinct was on full alert, and I started to observe everything, very focused. The GF sat at the table, and we also sat down. Old guy came from the kitchen with 4 0.5 liter beer cans and put them on the table, but I noticed that they were already open. Russian guy instantly starts to drink out of the can after a toast from the old guy, and I fake sip from the beer can because I did not want to crash the vibe and risk the vodka bottle. After about 10 to 15 minutes, I noticed that the Russian guy starts to be a little bit quieter, which was unusual. He is a very loud and intense person, and the old guy suddenly just put a hunter's knife on the table while talking normally and joking around. He did it casually, but I instantly knew that I am in a life or death situation. I showed no concern. I joked with them and stuff, and asked if I could go to the toilet. Old guy shows me to the bathroom, and I locked the door. This was before smartphones were broadly available for everyone. I am 40 years old now. I am looking for everything that can help us now. Scissors, something to throw in the eyes like mouthwater, with alcohol or something. But there is nothing. The whole entire bathroom is empty. I go back, and see the Russian guy pretty much hang over the table, mumbling around. I say that we have to go because my friend is not well. The old guy stopped feeling friendly. He became cold suddenly, and said I didn't even drink my beer, and that it's not cool to go like this, and he would not give us the bottle in this case. I said no problem, and we could meet up tomorrow to make it right or something. I remember looking at him, and he was thinking for about 5 seconds or so before responding that he would not drive us back in this case, and that it's dark outside with no one around. I told him it's no problem, and shouldered the Russian guy while keeping a friendly chatty attitude towards both of them. I remember the GF being pretty much silent at this point. Only the old guy is present in my memory. Maybe because I was full focused on him, I guess. I leave the house with the Russian guy, pretty much unconscious, shouldered, walking in the darkness, looking for the coast road in hope to find a car that drives by to help us get back. Always looking back to check if the old guy changes his mind and follows us, but he didn't. No car drove by. I shouldered the Russian guy until we came back to the surf village. I am not sure anymore how long it took to get back, as it was so hard to carry him, but my adrenaline just made me push through it. But I guess it was something like 60 to 90 minutes walk in the slow tempo. Russian guy was totally knocked out, and I was drained like crazy. The teen group was waiting and were disappointed that we had no alcohol with us, but I was happy. While typing this, I have goosebumps pretty much all the time. If I drank that beer, we could be dead now. No one knew we were with these guys. In a foreign country, in the middle of nowhere. Looking back, I was stupid as fuck, but I was a teen, and I wanted some alcohol to chill with girls, which made my brain lag for a dangerous amount of time. I thank God for my observational skills that I was born with. They saved me multiple times. My story isn't quite scary, but more like weird. Be me, 7 years old. I am deathly allergic to spiders. Didn't know it yet. Mom is blind, mainly raised by my grandma. Sometime in the afternoon, I got bit on my ear. I thought nothing of it. Nighttime. Watching old VHS tapes with Mom. She liked to listen to them. Mom goes to stroke my head. Oh God, what's this? She lets out an audible scream. Grandma gets the station wagon. I keep passing out in the car. I could see my mom yelling at me to stay awake, but I could not hear her. At the hospital, I immediately get rushed to the emergency room. I kept passing out. I am in the hospital bed. I lose consciousness. Have like a vision or a dream or whatever. I am in a grey grass field, still wearing my hospital gown. There was no color. The sky had no sun, and it was quiet. I felt something grab my leg. It's a grey arm. It's trying to pull me down into the grass. More arms spring up. They keep pulling me down. I was panicking and biting at the arms to no avail. I am halfway down and I start to pray. The only prayer I knew was just the lay me down to sleep one. Halfway through and I could not remember the verse. Tried to remember. How did Grandma say it? Couldn't remember my grandma's face or the verse. Couldn't even remember my name. My arms started turning grey. I could not do anything and just screamed at the top of my lungs. I woke up to the doctor shaking me, trying to get me to stop screaming. Apparently, when I was out, I would not stop screaming. The doctors don't know what happened. I oddly enough never developed arachnophobia. However, I can't stand being put under or being drugged because it gives me a similar experience. I had one other similar experience later in life that I might post later. It's nice to know that others have had supernatural or strange experiences of their own.